This is Ernest James Speaks About Things. I am your host, Ernest James. If you like what you're hearing, and if you find yourself entertained, hit the like button. Hit the like button. And also tell your friends and family about this and let them get enlightened and entertained as well. You've already heard the intro, so let's get into it, shall we? So, the Chicago Bears, they made a series of offseason moves. They took the time to pretty much build their interior offensive linemen with a host of trades and a key signing. I want to go over those trades, that signing. I also want to talk about what they've done on the defensive line, as well as highlight a move or two that actually may go overlooked amongst many of us, in all honesty. So let's kick things off. First and foremost, the Bears knew that offensive line was porous. I mean, Caleb Williams, he was sacked 68 times. That's a lot for a rookie quarterback. That's a lot for any quarterback. But for who is projected to be the heir apparent for one of the greatest of all time, that's who he's projected to be based on his skill set, based on his ability athletically, his ability to throw receivers open, his arm, which hopefully has gotten stronger. Because as we saw, if you've watched Bears games over the season, this past season, as you saw, he needs a little bit of help with his accuracy on the deep ball. Hopefully some touch and not forcing the football down the field. Hopefully that has improved. But he also needed some help with the protection. It seemed like every drop back he had, every pass he was attempting to throw, there was a defender in his face. So priority number one for the Chicago Bears, outside of hiring former Detroit Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson to be the head coach, they got the coach in the house. So what they needed to do was actually build the foundation of the house, because the foundation was tattered and torn, as evident by the team giving up so many sacks. Now, mind you, some of those sacks were on Caleb Williams as well. However, sometimes when a quarterback, a running back, or a receiver, when they get the ball and they find themselves blitzed so many times, sometimes you can get a little gun shy. Sometimes you can develop happy feet. That's what I saw while watching this Bears season. I saw Caleb Williams developing happy feet and panicking a lot. He may not admit to that, but it's hard not to see him overthinking and believing he has to do it all, or he has to hold on to the football a little longer, or just not seeing the rush come and not trusting the offensive line. So that was one of the key things that the Bears had to do this offseason. And just from my summation, they did a pretty decent job. I'm not going to say they did the best job just yet. You got the draft coming. But they did a decent job. They started off things by trading for Jonah Jackson, who was with the Rams. He only played a couple of games last season due to an injury. They traded away their 6th-round pick for this season. Not going to miss the pick. Don't get me wrong. There are some stars. Like everyone will talk about Tom Brady being drafted in the 6th round. Okay. Bears don't need a quarterback. So have it as you may, but trading a 6th-round pick and taking on Jonah Jackson's salary, that's the thing. That's where the question mark comes in at. And for a player who's only played a couple of games, he was only healthy for a couple of games last season, and then he was benched when he did play. It makes me wonder. Now, he did play for Ben Johnson with the Lions. So there's some familiarity there. There's some understanding of the system there. And I hope that Ben Johnson knows what he's doing, because this definitely was a Ben Johnson-inspired trade. Me personally, if you were to ask me if I would have made this move, probably not. But Ben Johnson, people are saying that he's the greatest offensive mind to be available in the last decade or so. Kind of Sean McVay-esque, so to speak. So we have to trust what he sees. We have to trust what he's seen with Jackson throughout his time. And I'm gonna, it makes me give this grade I'll say a C for this move. I'll say a C because we really don't know. We really don't know if Jackson's going to be healthy. We really don't know if the footwork is going to be on display the way we need it to be. And we really don't know how he's going to fare in bare weather. Spending time with the Rams, it's warm weather climate. Spending time with Detroit, they play in the dome. Footwork is a little bit different when playing in the trenches while in the snow, while the turf is or the grass is harder than what it needs to be. But if he can be a slight upgrade over Tevin Jenkins, who I happen to like, and I wish that the Bears would have taken the time to bring him back. Wish they would have gave him an opportunity just to see what he can do. I personally, I think Jenkins, he's going to go on and have a really decent career. But if Jonah Jackson can be an upgrade, a slight upgrade over Tevin Jenkins, then that'll make this grade a C, from a C to a B minus, a B, maybe. We'll see. That's a wait and see. We have to see whether or not he's healthy enough and whether or not that $16 million cap hit, whether or not it's going to hurt the Bears or help the Bears going forward. Although they did agree with an extension, kind of stretching things out a little bit more, giving themselves some flexibility. So, but again, it's a wait and see. It's an incomplete C, I'll say. So after that, the Bears, they had made a trade with the Kansas City Chiefs for a 4th-round pick. Next season, they got offensive guard, All-Pro Joe Thuney. I love this. I love this trade. I don't love his age at 32. But as we've seen with certain players, hell, Orlando Pace, perfect example. Players in the trenches, depending on if they can stay healthy, they tend to play on 35, 36, 37 years old. So who knows how long Thuney is going to be with the Bears in regards to his health. I think this was a move for the now. I think this was a trade for the now. I think his experience, he has four Super Bowl rings. I think with his experience, I think knowing what it takes to win, I think that'll help him ingratiate himself with the team. I think, you walk into the locker room, the Bears locker room, and you have this guy, supposedly a quiet guy, but you have this guy nevertheless. He comes in there and he has 4 Super Bowl rings. You're going to listen to whatever the hell he has to say. So I think just with that, with the panache, with the ability to play not only left guard but left tackle when need be, I think it's a move that not only will it help the Bears' offensive line, the interior part of the offensive line, but you have a smart offensive guard that can help Braxton Jones at left tackle, or whoever the left tackle is going to be. I tend to believe it's going to be Braxton Jones, although it's not. Jones is not the favorite amongst a lot of Bears fans, a lot of other Bears fans, let me say. But I think adding Thuney, adding that playoff experience, which is something that the roster was pretty much void of. I mean, I forget which game it was over the course of the season, but the announcers, they talked about how young the Bears team was, and they talked about how little playoff experience that last season's Bears team had. So I think bringing in a guy with not only a plethora of playoff experience, but with the Super Bowl rings on top of that, for me, I have to give this the grade. I have to give it an A. Now, there's a couple of question marks, because he's 32. He's going to be 33 when the season starts, or as the season is going on. Age is a factor. Hopefully they can agree to terms on a contract extension. I'd give him 2 additional years. Let's see how things go, you know. So as he's 32, 33, 34, 35, and then we see where we are with the offensive line at age 35. Hopefully there's an heir apparent, and hopefully he continues to be the sage in the locker room, the mentor in the locker room, so to speak. Someone who can kind of help shepherd the other players along. I envision the Bears being a factory if they play things properly. So I give this move an A. Right after the trade took place, a lot of people were shocked. Some people were shocked about the draft compensation that the Kansas City Chiefs got. 4th-round pick. You can find a legitimate player. You can find legitimate starters. Some legitimate Pro Bowl caliber players in the 4th round. While I don't think it'll hurt them too much, I think that the Bears allow themselves a little bit of maneuverability in regards to the draft, the next season's draft. I think they allow themselves a little bit of maneuverability there. You start to wonder whether or not General Manager Ryan Poles likes 4th-round draft picks, because the Bears haven't really had a 4th-round draft pick, it seems like, since his tenure has started. But I don't think the draft compensation that's going to hurt the Bears right now. We'll see as the season starts, you know, later on down the line. And if Thuney can stay healthy, and if he can stay consistent and keep up that pace, that Hall of Fame level pace, that should prove to be a win for the Bears. So I give it an A. Low A, but I give it an A. Once the Thuney trade took place, a couple of days later, free agency started, and immediately the Bears struck. Well, not immediately, but a little bit as free agency started, the Bears struck, getting a center, Drew Dahlman from the Atlanta Falcons. Thank goodness it's a center. I give this move a B. Not to say that they didn't need a center. They needed a center. They needed an experienced center. I have question marks about his height. He's a little bit on the short side, but it does help the fact that Caleb Williams is also on the short side, so that helps a little bit. He knows what to do. He knows how to do. He knows how to play. He knows how to get the offensive line in the places that they need to be. So that's a huge boom for the Bears. I do question the dollar amount. I'm kind of old school. I'm kind of old school in a way where should a center get paid that much? But we'll see. We'll see how things pan out. I think having someone that's experienced will help Caleb Williams in his career, his development. I think, like I say, it takes one of the items off Williams' plate, and that's calling the offensive line plays. Now you have a smart guy, and on his left side, another smart guy with Joe Thuney, and on the right side, a former Pro Bowler and Jonah Jackson. So I think as a collective, I think it's a huge upgrade as a collective. I wonder about Drew Dahlman's, his height. Is he strong enough? Again, he kind of like Jonah Jackson. Drew Dahlman played in a dome, playing outdoors for 8 games, minimum 8 games, not to mention the Green Bay game. So that's 9 games, give or take. And then the other games, the other road games. How does Drew Dahlman's game translate when it's cold outside? How is the footwork when it's cold outside? That's what I want to see. But I do like the signing. I like the fact that the Bears struck right away. They were smart in that. They've done a lot of smart moves here, I gotta say. This one's a solid B. I kind of felt like they could have, honestly, not necessarily brought in just a stopgap. Hopefully they'll pick a center in the draft later on in the later rounds. Hopefully they'll grab a center there, someone that they can develop. They need some developmental talent, someone that they could perhaps stash on the practice roster, the practice squad. but I like the signing enough where I'm not going to be upset about it. The Bears didn't make too many moves where I was upset about this offseason so far. So, you know, so with that being said, I give it a B. After that, Grady Jarrett, a lot of people poo-poo the Grady Jarrett signing. He was released by the Falcons. We know why the Falcons had their fire sale. They got that gigantic contract that they should not have signed with their quarterback up there. But neither here nor there. Their loss is a Bears gain. A lot of people do not like the dollar amount that Jarrett got. And for as good as Jarrett is, a lot of people, myself included, we have question marks in how much of an impact can he be on the Bears defense for the dollar amount. 3 years, I think $43 million, something like that. It's a wait and see. He's also 32. So age is a factor there as well. So that's something else that makes me curious. Like, how is he going to hold up? Can he give us 2 years, 2 solid years out of this 3-year deal? But as we know, the Bears, they do a good job of protecting themselves. They do a good job of maintaining their cap flexibility. So much of the guaranteed money will take place during the first and second year. So the third year, if it doesn't pan out, if it's a signing that proves not to pan out, or Jared becomes instantly long in the tooth in year 2, near the end of year 2 or beginning of year 3, the Bears can walk away from that deal. So we'll see how that goes. But it will help the locker room because that's a veteran presence. That's a feared presence in on the defensive line. That's a very feared presence. And it's a name that most people, football fans, know about. That helps too. That helps with the credibility. One of the things we overlook is the team's overall credibility. It's huge. So we'll see how that goes. I give that signing a C+, B-. I just question marks about his age and whether or not he can last 2 years. If he lasts and he plays well all 3 seasons, great. I would love that. But if he can give the Bears a good 2 years, I'm happy, and I'd be willing to change my grade from a B+ to from a B-. From a B- to a B+, A-. After that, the Bears signed Deo Odebingo. I think I'm pronouncing that name properly. I try to be really good with pronouncing names. They signed him to a 3-year, $46 million deal, if I'm not mistaken. He is the prototypical Dennis Allen type of defensive end. He's probably going to be a rotational defensive end, which I hope that the Bears employ at least 4 rotational defensive ends. Give Montez Sweat a little bit of a break. Let Deo come in and wreck shop. Hopefully there's some signs of life from Austin Booker. Hopefully, because a lot of us had hopes on Booker actually showing some promise. He showed some in the preseason. He didn't do too much as the regular season went on, but that could have been a coach's decision. We don't know. Now that there are new coaches in the building, especially a Dennis Allen who likes the tall, kind of stout defensive end, I can see a rotation. That's why this move fits. It's a very underrated move. A lot of the pundits, they did not like this signing, said it was too much. But you have to think about catching players on an upswing as well. Some of the best football franchises catch players on the uptick. They don't always catch players on the downslide. Guy's young. He's 26. If I'm not mistaken, 25, 26, he's young. He's entering his prime. Can the Bears take advantage of his prime? Can Dennis Allen look at this science project and say, I'm going to make you a pass rush star, and I'm going to help show you how to stop running backs in the process and help you with the form tackle, which to me, I think that's his biggest weakness. I think that's what kept him off of the field. He wasn't as strong against the run as I would have liked and others would have liked. So with that said, I'm not upset. The Bears needed a pass rusher. They still need another pass rusher or two. And this is a move that would help. People are upset about the money, but it wasn't a lot of money to me. It wasn't a lot of money that the Bears gave up because their salary cap, since Ryan Poles has taken the helm, has been fairly healthy. So this move, I give it a B minus. It's kind of like a wait and see. We're getting a player hopefully trending upward, not a player who's stagnant. Upward, I hope. So we'll see, but a solid C. Not a bad move at all, but it's kind of like the Grady Jarrett and the Jonah Jackson and the Joe Thuney signings and trades. It's a wait and see, so to speak. Drew Dalman, on the other hand, I think that's a guaranteed thing. It's just how is his footwork going to be when it's cold outside in grass. So after that, Olamide Zaccheaus signed to a one-year deal. This goes down as one of my underrated signings. One of the biggest issues that the Bears had this past season, who was the third receiver? Who was the number 3 receiver? You had 3 guys who legitimately can say, get me the damn ball. You know, DJ Moore. It's like, why isn't Caleb throwing my way? Why is Roma Dunze getting the passes? Why is Keenan Allen getting the passes? I need some targets too. So having Zaccheaus in the fold, it eliminates that my turn, your turn, your turn, my turn, your turn, your turn, your turn thing that the Bears had going on this past season. It also helps define roles, which I don't know if people realize how important it is to have a defined role. Like, you come in, you're not looking to overtake the number 1 guy. You're not looking to overtake the number 2 guy. You're looking to come in, fit in, help get some good numbers, get more money when it's all said and done. Hopefully, in Zaccheaus' case, he took a $3 million deal. I'm sure that there was more money elsewhere, but he saw this as an opportunity, an up-and-coming quarterback, just leaving the team with an up-and-coming quarterback, you know, in Jaden Daniels in Washington. And he saw that opportunity here where he can be entrenched as the number 3 receiver. No questions asked. I give this signing an A. He's a get up and get the football type of receiver. He is a bona fide number 3 receiver, which again the Bears needed. The Bears needed in the building. They needed to establish certain roles. He is guaranteed to be the receiver, health notwithstanding. He's guaranteed to be the slot receiver, and he gives the Bears options. Caleb Williams now has options, and the checkdowns. You know who's number 1. You know who's number 2. You know who's number 3. You know who's number 4. It eliminates the ambiguity here. So I give this move an A. The other overlooked move, most people may not talk about this, but re-signing Doug Kramer Jr. Was the offensive line bad? You bet your ass it was. One of the highlights of the offensive line was the play of Doug Kramer Jr. along with Bill Murray before Bill Murray got hurt. Doug Kramer Jr. was a mainstay. He kind of stopped the bleeding, so to speak, when he could. And it helped the Bears' offensive line at times when they could be stable to be stable. So very low-key signing there. I think that signing cannot go overlooked. Also, keeping him in-house, keeping him in the building, and not letting him go anywhere. I kind of was hoping that the Bears would keep him and Tevin Jenkins. But Doug Kramer, he's a good, capable backup guard who can play on the left side or the right side. Got to have that in there. Another and the final low-key signing, underappreciated signing, Devin Duvernay. Now, before I get into Devin Duvernay, let me say that I'm going to give all of the underrated signings one grade. So I'll go back to Doug Kramer Jr. in a minute. Devin Duvernay. He's a speedster. He's had some injuries, but he's a speedster. He knows how to get open. I'm not sure about his route running. I think that was one of that, and his availability was the issues with him in Baltimore. But he's a speedster. Why is this a signing that's underrated? Who was the kickoff returner last season? Right. Who returned punts last season? Right. The Bears started the season last season with Velus Jones Jr. doing those things. Where's Velus Jones Jr.? Right. So signing Devin Duvernay to a low-risk one-year deal, chef kiss, voila, genius. He is one of the proven kickoff returners, punt returners in the league. And he comes from a team with a pedigree, which is something else that I'm going to get into after talking about one last underrated signing. And that last underrated signing, again, someone else that comes from a pedigree, a team with a pedigree. None other than backup quarterback Case Keenum. Why is his signing important? Many times you can see Caleb Williams sitting on the sidelines, not sulking, but just wondering what the hell went wrong. How could I have missed that pass? Why did the defenders get on me so fast? There was no adult in the room to pull him to the side that wore a Bears jersey that he could identify with, that has played the position that he can respect. That's where Case Keenum comes in at. Case Keenum is now the adult in the room. Case Keenum is the, hey, I've been there, done that. I also have a ring, son. Let me show you how to play quarterback. Genius. Genius is something that we were asking for last season. Now, that's not to say Tyson Bagent is going bye-bye. That's not to say that. But there needed to be an adult in the room, in the quarterback's room. And now the Bears have it. And now they can go forward. They can play like a mature team, because we saw games when things just broke down. We saw games when they just melted down, and you're just wondering, like, what the hell is going on with this team? Why did this thing make them lose their focus all of a sudden? Case Keenum is a been there, done that kind of guy. Along with Joe Thuney, Jonah Jackson, Devin Duvernay, Olamide Zaccheaus, Grady Jackson, Drew Dahlman. All these players have been there, done that. And with the exception of one or two, what I like the most is that they've all come from teams with playoff pedigrees, playoff contenders. That is something that the Bears were missing this past season. Who are the vets in the room that have been there, done that? The Bears have that now. And now we can be happy. So with that last underrated signing, I give all of the underrated signings an A. And I give the Bears offseason so far a B. What's next on the horizon? According to NFL.com, in their mock draft, Missouri's on my member. Let's make that happen. All right, thank you all for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Ernest James. This is Ernest James Speaks About Things, the Sports Edition. Thank you very much.